I have lost count how many times Street of Rage number 2 I have cleared when it comes to the story mode. For me, this is one of those games I can keep revisiting. In the past, we have seen many different kind of modifications that give this game a different way to play, but not in a really serious way. So let's take a close look at the Street of Rage 2 featuring the Turtles with a Shredder's Revenge. So in the past I did talk about not your typical reproduction game, no, we're talking about custom games. Games like having Sonic the Hedgehog in Street of Rage number 3. Absolutely wicked, but a minor adjustment on a completely new game that had been made by the community and slapped by an individual on a cartridge. In this video I just want to highlight something that I picked up thanks to Wildchild. He brought this to me from a convention. I have no idea who is making this. I was trying to figure out because this is freaking awesome. This is not like you saying an added a new character. No, this is basically a semi-new game. But I mean, when you're looking at this particular Shredder's Revenge, it is freaking awesome. Simply because there are so many things changed in the original games. But now we're going to have the Turtles. And this is absolutely not the quality you will find on AliExpress. When you're looking at the overall quality of the box, it still have this very nice pattern that you can find in original games back in the day. Everything have been cut out absolutely great. Here it even says Street of Rage 2 featuring the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And when you're looking at the back, it's even having incomplete text. You would think if you had something like this in the 90s, how cool would it be? I think it's freaking awesome. Also, when it comes to the cartridge, it even has like the green translucent cartridge. I don't know if they have also the black version, but I think it's very nice looking. It even have like copyright 2022, so I don't know if it's going to be made in 2022 when it comes to the cartridge. I have no idea. By the way, this is just a homebrew scene. It is not like something that has been officially released. I just want to point it out. So the creator even, let's say, give you a postcard. It's quite interesting to see how much effort they put in this. It even comes with some extra stickers. And then of course we have the manual. It's not the toilet paper manual that you're getting with the AliExpress versions. I have like reviewed a couple of them back in the day. They were really awful. This is just a basic manual with an explanation how the game actually looks. But the first thing I've noticed when you're looking at the cartridge, it feels very nice as very thick plastic, not the cheap stuff. Then over here it says Street of Rage 2 featuring the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and the overall quality of the sticker is quite nice. So let's take a close look at the Sega game with the Megadrive Lite I have checked out and reviewed some time ago. So with the basic hacks I checked out in the past, this is nothing like that. They completely changed out the intro in a certain level. Of course we still have the city in the background. The font style of the text of the intro, it's still the same, but it has like this green color to it. Also, it has a completely different storyline, and when you're reading it through it, you can see it has nothing to do with the original game, and brings the first big change to this, so that makes this hack complete and absolutely great. And even the picture of Mr. X has been replaced, and here you can see scrolling the text explaining what happened to the Street of Rage 2 game and why there is now the Turtles. But this is the most awesome and complete Street of Rage 2 modified game. So what they did in this is having a lot of new bunch of features. To begin with, replaced all the characters and the enemies, including all of the boxes, giving this game a completely new gaming vibe. Added shadows to all of the characters, all of the enemies, but also even all of the boxes. Some enemies are having even new attacks, and I can tell you some will surprise experienced players. In total we're going to get ourselves 7 new playable characters that can jump further while running, and all of these like cool things including running. All of the characters will have an attack that is similar to the original. Players can also recover by being hit by pressing the jump button upon landing, like in Street of Rage number 4. All playable characters have jumping further while running. You can even add offensive special while running. Added 6-button gamepad support, uppercut is now in the Y button, and later on we're also going to talk about new features including turbo function. So all of the original characters can be played from the game itself. It's pretty damn cool. Ralph, Leo, Donnie, Mickey, April, O'Neil, Splinter and even Casey Jones. All of the characters have their own way to play, in other words, unlike the pros and the cons. And let's take a close look at some characters, because when you're going to play with them you will have a favorite and one you don't like. Simply because every single character will have their set of normal but also special moves. For me, the biggest element that they changed out, giving this complete feeling, is having final bosses from the original games. Some will still have the elements of the original bosses of Streets of Rage number 2, but they just implemented it in this way that it just feels completely different. When it comes to the original sprites, I did see some minor glitching here and there when it comes to the bosses, but the overall quality is absolutely great, giving this like a completely turtle feeling. Some of the moves, for example with the flying guy, I really hate that boss, when he drops you down on the floor, those moves are still implemented like with the original bosses, but now having just a completely reskin when it comes to the turtles. But compared to the original games and the bosses, you can see when it comes to Bebop, he still has the gun that he actually shoots on you that the original character didn't have, and that is the elements that I wanted to see when it comes to this complete mod. So when it comes to the alien stage, where we're having Slash now as a final boss, they implemented this perfectly with his jumping and his rolling and all of the moves the original boss also included. The first character from the Turtle franchise is Rocksteady as a final boss, and he implemented not only the gun but also having this very cool dashing move that will give a personal very cool feeling to the character they implemented into this homebrew hack. And there was one particular thing I wanted to check out, and that is basically the mid-boss we're getting into the Streets of Rage number 2 Alien. I just wanted to check out what they changed out, but when it comes to this boss, they just left it originally. I don't find it really of a bummer. I think it's still pretty cool that they have some elements to the original game. Man, this game is absolutely great, but I really hate that boss. But I can tell you, when playing this game and recording, I have really enjoyed myself playing this. But there was one particular thing I just wanted to point out, and that is the turbo function. So if you want to use a level cheat, that doesn't work with this hack. I tried it a couple of times. We do have the option for different difficulty up the way to Mania. Players can be turned on, but the turbo function is a function that will stay true to when it comes to turning it off to the original Streets of Rage 2 with a combo system. But when you're going to turn it on, you're going to have crazy stuff that you're going to see over here. So let's get rid of these. We're not going to need it. We do have like a single one I'm going to show you later on when it comes to the quality. So when you're looking at the different cartridges I'm having here, we're having the same kind of game, only in different kind of qualities. So this one comes from AliExpress, and the first thing I've noticed, he completely messed up the label. I mean, it just says Turtles, the Shredder's Revenge. And that's not true. It's not a homebrew game, Shredder's Revenge. Basically, it's Revenge. It's just Streets of Rage. Quite confusing, and in my opinion, a little bit of a bummer. Also, the shell is this very cheap quality. There are no screw holes at the back. And what do we mean with it? So let's grab ourselves like this homebrew version, like Plants vs Zombies. Here you can see we're having two screws that are like black screws and chrome screws. But the overall quality of the plastic is very nice and very sturdy. When you're having this very cheap feel, and I don't even want to smell it because, oh man, these things are chemical. Another comparison we're going to do is like opening it up, and we're going to show you the inside of the PCBs. But before we're going to do that, another one I picked up is from a store. I think it was from Canada. I found that randomly, like, it's kind of interesting. This guy makes higher qualities. Also, they went for, not for the Megadrive, but for the Genesis. I also know the guy who made a complete one has a Genesis version, but this is so much better quality. Also, when you're looking at the glossy look of it, absolutely amazing. This is just a different kind of a style of an art, so everybody has their own way of making it. But the weight of it, we're going to do a side-by-side comparison with that because it weighs so much heavier than the cheap one from China. And of course we're having the translucent version. It has a little bit less weight to it, but not bad at all. Another thing is a very big difference is going to be the quality of the PCB, because there we have like massive differences. So the first thing is, like, when you're going to do a teardown, this thing is made out of plastic. You can just like rip and tear it. But the most interesting thing is how this PCB looks. He had made a decision to get like a green looking, like cheap kind of an, let's say, PCB. It weighs quite nice because it has like this gigantic chip on it. I think there was another one I've bought from the same seller, and it's kind of funny. So when you're looking at the other one I'm having from him, so let's get the other cartridge with the same cheap shell. Let's see if I can very carefully rip it open. There we go, you don't need to do that too often. But the thing is, when you're looking at it, he sent it off, there was no information, but with this chip you can see they have an original sharp Japan chip for storage. So when it comes to the overall quality, the way how they construct this with the soldering and etc., it is very nice. So when it comes to this particular seller, it seems to be that you're going to get yourself like a quality chip. But when opening up the cartridges, there are quite like some resemblance when it comes to some PCBs, but some of them are using a completely kind of a different brand. Which one is the best one? I can just be honest, I cannot really tell you from this standpoint on. So when it comes to the Chinese version, just going to get yourself like a green cheap PCB, but we do have an original sharp Japan chip they are using. I think it is going to be something they are just reusing. So when you're looking at the company from Canada, so here you do have like this second dimension. That's basically a brand that makes these PCBs they can reprogram. Kind of cool. He added a sticker for Shreddage Revenge. So the quality overall, when you're looking at the PC, is just brand new and in my opinion, better quality. And then, and this is even more interesting when you're looking at the complete one I've picked up, he is using a different kind of brand, but also a different configuration, where we're having these big chips on the other ones. They're just having a completely different version with a tiny chip. I'm just going to be honest, this single seller is going to be selling, let's say, cheap shells with a cheap horrible wrong sticker, but when it comes to the PCB, it's not bad at all comparing with the competition. Some of them even giving me like these really cheap chips, and I can tell you they are like really bad. They had the problem that they were falling off in the end after using it for a couple of weeks or months or sometimes even days. Whereas some of the sellers having like way better quality PCBs, but unfortunate, I mentioned before, it's like it's going to be a gamble. Sometimes you're going to get just like a cheap chip or a very nice PCB. But nevertheless, let's put them all back together and just let's talk about the gameplay itself. But that's basically what we're going to get when it comes to the games and the quality. The reason I dedicated this video so much when it comes to the quality is very simple. I just wanted to check out and show you what are the differences and absolutely what you need to look out for. The AliExpress is absolutely gamble. This seller has a great PCB, but everything else is just crap. The one I bought from Canada, I must say this thing is very nice, high quality. But yeah, there is no box so far, I know. Maybe in the future we'll do that. I think it's a very nice looking quality case. When it comes to the game itself, everything is very cool. I just want to have this game complete in box. It's not an official release game, but I think it's a very cool modification. Let me know in the comments what do you think of this, and it would be great to see you in the next video.